everybody, welcome back to Furniture Flipping Teacher. I'm Lauren, and if this is your first time coming across our channel, welcome. We are in the middle of an Airbnb renovation in the upper part of our new home. Well, our new old home. And today we are starting episode 1 of the sunroom, but if you want to get caught up on everything else that we have done up until this point, we do have a playlist and I'll link that down below for you guys so that you can get caught up on all of our previous episodes. Today in the sunroom, our first step to start making this place look somewhat better is to start scraping the windows. Whoever painted them last really just didn't care. They got paint all over the glass, and then plus some of the areas are quite dirty, so we're also going to be cleaning all of that up, caulking everything, and then getting ready to paint them a much brighter white. All finished up. So far what we've done is scraped all of the loose paint off of the trim parts. We've scraped the glass, at least from the inside's perspective, to get all that paint that was painted onto the glass previously. We got all that off. And then I just did a quick scuff sand, not necessarily for adhesion, but I just used a 120 grit to mostly knock back any of the texture that's on this trim. They just painted right over whatever was existing and they just didn't do a great job. So I want to make it a little bit more flawless and less bumpy, so I went ahead and smoothed everything out. My next step is to go grab some spackling, and I'm going to start filling in some of the holes that are there, and then also I'm going to grab my caulk gun and we're going to go ahead and caulk all of the cracks that are in the window seams, and there's a lot of them. I think that alone is going to just really upscale the look of it even before paint, but definitely looking worse before it's looking better, but we're getting there, just like with every project. So just like furniture, anything that you're gonna paint, you need to clean off. This place had not been ever touched with a cleaning rag. I just know it because there was dust and dirt and watermarks and all of that jazz in here. So I needed to take a scrubber and some Dawn dish soap and get it all cleaned down. It was not a fun job, but a necessary job and a hot job. Whew. Okay, now comes the spackling and the caulking to fill all the holes and the cracks. We're doing a little bit of late night spackling and filling in some of these holes. My main goal is to get them all ready for tomorrow so that I can actually prime tomorrow. So I am just using the same stuff I used in my parents' bathroom when I filled the holes in their walls. It's just spackling. It's awesome because it's pink, and when it's dry, it will turn white. So it'll be perfect. It'll tell me when it's ready to be painted, which of course it'll be ready to be painted tomorrow because it'll be like overnight. All you do is take a little bit on your putty knife, and then you go through and you find any gaps that need to be filled, fill them in, and then later once it dries, you'll sand them down. Pretty easy, just tedious.
Okay, I'll tag in on this one.
All right, Neiman wants to take over the spackling for me, which is great because the more the merrier. I am gonna move on to caulking then. So I've already got my caulk gun loaded up. I need to just cut it
point that at me.
off. So this is...
Who's your etiquette? Number one rule at the range, you cannot point. That stays pointed towards the ground.
It's just caulk and it's not open.
I don't want to take no caulk to the eye.
Anyway, this is 100% waterproof window, door, and trim sealant. So I thought, what better caulk to get than that, because we're doing exactly that, window trim. So it's also paintable. I looked and there were some that were for windows, doors, and trim, and it wasn't paintable. So you want to make sure that you are able to paint it if you're gonna be painting, which I am gonna be doing. So paintable caulk.
Whoa.
Perfect. So we've got a nice little bead of caulk right there, and we're just gonna go to town. I think I'm gonna need a wet rag here in just a minute, but.
Alright guys, if you see here, yeah, you just see all of the dark spots on the big light. You're going to find yourself in bug land.
Because we have to have the windows open right now or else we'll be hot. So Neiman is scared of bugs and he is ready to close up shop. So I'm about halfway done with the caulking, and then he's about halfway done with the spackling. So tomorrow morning we'll pick up here. I'll finish caulking that way, and then while that's all drying, I'll go over here and start sanding and stuff. Luckily, this caulk that I got is only needs 30 minutes to dry before it's paintable. And then the spackling doesn't really take too long to dry either. So we should be in good shape tomorrow. We'll pick back up right here.
P.S. I am not scared of bugs. I'm going to bed. Come on.
Alright, I'm on the last window here for caulking. I already spackled everything. So the next step after this is to let everything dry. In the meantime, I'll go ahead and tape everything off for paint, sand everything down, and then we'll get ready to prime. So now that caulking is all finished up, I am ready to tape. But I don't think you guys want to sit through me taping up all the windows. So in 3, 2, 1, it's time to prime. And as you can see, during that time when the tape was up in the air, the window broke because we had a quick little 5-minute hailstorm and it decided to bust one of our windows. So it looks like we'll be getting at least new glass in this window here. But like I said, it is time to prime. I'm going to be using Behr shellac-based primer so that I can cover up all of the dirtiness that's going on around here. Let's get to it. I'm done. It took me like 2-3 hours between there to do all of the primer around the windows. I was a little bit nervous about doing the edging because I still wanted them to slide. I didn't want to paint the windows shut, obviously. So I was just really careful and kind of did it in batches where I rolled the sides and the edges of the windows, and then I let that dry before I put them down and did the insides, and it really worked out after I got that method down. So it's super exciting because even though that was just primer, it still looks like 100 times better already. There are a few spots where I still need to go back with the spackling and the caulking, but now that we've got the primer on, those spots really pop out, so I'll be able to see that. So next step is to continue filling the rest of the holes, and then we will move on to the first coat of paint. I got all of the windows covered, and then we've got this guy, and this is the window that broke in the hailstorm. So I just called a glass company and I am going to remove it, bring it to them so that they can replace the glass, and then hopefully we can have this installed pretty quick here so that we don't have a huge opening in our sunroom up here for too long. Unfortunately, this happened after I caulked everything, so I'm gonna just use my box cutter here, slice the caulking, and in order to get this window out, I have to get this trim off because of the way that the window's put together. So that's what I'm gonna be doing right now. Don't want to lose the ropes in the inside, so definitely wanted to tie those up. It's a pretty nice day, but I know that I think later it's supposed to rain, so once I get back from taking the window, I'll go ahead and board this up a little bit and then get to painting. It's finally time to take down the rigging that we have up here. for our window. The window got fixed and it only cost me about $32, so really not that bad in the grand scheme of things. It could have been a lot worse. I'm just thankful that we were able to get it fixed as quick as we did. So now it's time to just put this baby back on. So I've got to remember how. I believe I got my brad nailer because we have to put this rope back on the window. I think that's going to be the easiest way. Now that I got the window back on, I'm going to put this trim piece, these trim pieces back on, and we'll finally be ready to prime. Oh no, not prime, but paint. We already primed. I'm waiting. Okay. We have a window. Time to paint. All right, this is what we're using for the window trim. It is just ultra pure white. I wanted the trim to pop, and when I do the walls, it'll be a little bit of a different white, not so bright. I am actually going to be utilizing the Wagner 3500 sprayer to spray the trim of the windows. I rolled on and brushed on the primer, and that took me about 3 hours, I think, or 2 maybe. But I decided to try out the sprayer for the trim because I think that 1, it'll make things go a lot quicker, and 2, I've always wanted to try spraying things other than furniture, so this is a great place to start. I was also able to use the same nozzle, this part that attaches to my Wagner Flexio 3000 that I use, or 4000 that I use out for the furniture. So that was really nice that these tips are interchangeable. I'm gonna start by straining the paint just as I do with the furniture.
You're over pouring.
Oops. Made a mess, but I got it filled up. I am hoping that we're not gonna have to water it down. I'm honestly not sure with the latex paint, but it seems like it'll do just fine, so we're gonna connect it. One thing that I already love about this better than my other sprayer, my other Wagner, is that it doesn't have that long tube. The only thing that it has is the cord, so I'm liking that a lot better. I went ahead and set it to the number 6, which is the air power, and I was reading the directions, so it had said either 6 to the max level of air power. So I'm gonna start it at 6 and we'll go from there. I've always got my mask on when I'm spraying, and then indoors is gonna be even more compact. It's gonna stay in here, not gonna move around. Probably gonna turn the fan off actually, so it doesn't get everywhere. I wanted to point out that you'll notice this down here really, it makes me not be able to spray that bottom portion of each window. This one, of course, is the one that doesn't open. But that means that every time I spray one of these, I'm gonna be missing that bottom portion, which isn't the end of the world because you're not gonna be able to see it when it's down. But I've decided that every time I spray a window, I'll just go ahead and lift it up a tad bit, spray that, and then it'll dry. Because this up here luckily doesn't rub up against anything that would make it stick. So let's get started. finished with the spraying of the window trim, and it is looking nice and bright, and I can only imagine when I start to take off the papers and the tape from the windows that it's just going to brighten this room up so much. I am thinking that I'm ready to go ahead and take all of that paper off. I want to just double check in my head so that I don't take it off and then need to do it again, because that was a lot of work, but I think we're good to go. So let's go ahead and begin. We've gone through lots of work to come to be at this moment right here, right now. It's still gonna look a little bit unfinished because the outsides also need to get worked on. We're in talks with someone about doing that because I really don't want to do that. So hopefully soon we can get that going. But you guys, they're white. We're done officially with that part of the sunroom, and that is going to conclude today's video. It was honestly a long time coming. I think this project took us about 2 weeks. Most of it wasn't working time. It was waiting for that window to get fixed. So thanks for that hailstorm for prolonging this project. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're interested in more episodes about the sunroom, those will be coming soon, so be sure to get subscribed. And then if you're not all caught up on everything Airbnb and FFT, be sure and check out this playlist. We'll link it down below as well as over here. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the flip side.